Welcome to Figures in History. Join us on a captivating journey through time as we uncover key facts about influential individuals who have shaped our world. In this episode, we will be discussing Henry VIII. 1. Henry VIII's early appointments and education. Born on June 28, 1491, at the Palace of Placentia in Greenwich, Henry VIII was the third child of Henry VII and Elizabeth of York. Despite being the second son, he received numerous prestigious appointments from a young age, such as Constable of Dover Castle and Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports at age 2, and Earl Marshal of England and Lord Lieutenant of Ireland at age 3. These titles were largely ceremonial, intended to keep lucrative positions within the royal family. Henry's early education was exceptional. He was tutored by leading scholars and became fluent in Latin and French, with some knowledge of Italian. His education was comprehensive, covering subjects like theology, philosophy, and the arts, preparing him for a role he was not initially expected to assume. His brother Arthur's untimely death in 1502 thrust Henry into the position of heir apparent, drastically altering his life's trajectory. 2. The English Reformation and break with Rome. Henry VIII's desire to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon led to a monumental religious and political shift known as the English Reformation. When Pope Clement VII refused to annul the marriage, Henry took radical steps, severing ties with the Roman Catholic Church. He declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England, effectively establishing a national church independent of papal authority. This move was solidified through a series of legislative acts, including the Act of Supremacy in 1534. Henry's Reformation was not purely religious. It also had significant political and economic implications. By dissolving monasteries and convents, he redirected their wealth to the crown, bolstering royal finances, but also causing widespread social and economic disruption. This Reformation laid the groundwork for the Protestant Reformation in England, fundamentally altering the nation's religious landscape. 3. Henry VIII's marriages and quest for a male heir. Henry VIII is famously known for his 6 marriages, each driven by his quest for a male heir and political alliances. His first marriage to Catherine of Aragon produced only one surviving child, Mary, leading Henry to seek an annulment. His subsequent marriage to Anne Boleyn resulted in the birth of Elizabeth, but no male heir, leading to Anne's execution on charges of adultery and treason. Jane Seymour, his third wife, finally bore him a son, Edward, but died shortly after childbirth. Henry's fourth marriage to Anne of Cleves was annulled quickly due to his dissatisfaction with her appearance. His fifth wife, Catherine Howard, was executed for adultery. His final marriage to Catherine Parr provided companionship and helped reconcile Henry with his daughters. These marriages were not just personal but also political maneuvers, reflecting the complexities of Tudor dynastic politics. 4. Henry VIII's extravagant spending and financial troubles. Despite the wealth acquired from the dissolution of monasteries, Henry VIII's reign was marked by financial instability due to his extravagant spending and costly wars. He invested heavily in building projects, including the construction of Nonsuch Palace and the expansion of the Royal Navy. His military campaigns, particularly against France and Scotland, drained the royal treasury. Henry's lavish court life, filled with grand banquets, tournaments, and elaborate clothing, further strained finances. To address the financial shortfall, Henry resorted to debasing the currency, which led to inflation and economic difficulties. His financial policies had long-term consequences, contributing to the economic challenges faced by his successors. Despite these issues, Henry's reign left a lasting legacy in terms of cultural and architectural achievements. 5. Henry VIII's influence on the English Constitution. Henry VIII's reign brought significant changes to the English Constitution, expanding royal power and establishing the theory of the divine right of kings. By breaking away from papal authority, Henry asserted the supremacy of the monarchy over the Church, a principle enshrined in the Act of Supremacy. He also used Parliament to pass laws that consolidated his power, such as the Treasons Act, which made it treasonous to deny the king's supremacy. Henry's use of bills of attainder allowed him to execute perceived enemies without a formal trial, further centralizing authority. These constitutional changes had a profound impact on the relationship between the monarchy and the state, setting precedents for future rulers. Henry's reign marked a shift towards a more absolute form of monarchy, with the king wielding unprecedented control over both church and state. 6. Henry VIII's military campaigns and naval expansion. Henry VIII's reign was marked by numerous military campaigns, particularly against France and Scotland. His early victories, such as the Battle of the Spurs in 1513, bolstered his reputation as a warrior king. However, many of his campaigns were costly and yielded limited territorial gains. Henry's rivalry with Francis I of France and Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire led to a series of conflicts that drained the royal treasury. Despite these challenges, Henry significantly expanded the Royal Navy, recognizing the importance of naval power. He invested in the construction of new warships, including the famous Mary Rose, and established a permanent navy with supporting dockyards and anchorages. This naval expansion laid the foundation for England's future maritime dominance. Henry's military ambitions and naval investments had lasting implications for England's strategic and geopolitical position. 7. Henry VIII's health and physical decline. In his youth, Henry VIII was known for his athleticism and physical prowess, excelling in sports like jousting, hunting, and real tennis. However, a jousting accident in 1536 marked the beginning of his physical decline. The injury to his leg became ulcerated and chronic, causing severe pain and limiting his mobility. As he aged, Henry became obese, with a waist measurement of 54 inches, and suffered from other health issues, including painful boils and possibly gout. His declining health affected his temperament, leading to mood swings and increasing paranoia. Some historians suggest that his physical and mental deterioration may have been exacerbated by conditions like scurvy or McLeod syndrome. Despite his health problems, Henry continued to rule with an iron fist, but his later years were marked by a more tyrannical and unpredictable demeanor. 8. Henry VIII's cultural and intellectual contributions. Henry VIII was not only a king, but also a patron of the arts and a scholar. He cultivated the image of a Renaissance man, surrounding himself with scholars, musicians, and artists. His court became a center of cultural and intellectual activity, attracting figures like Thomas More and Hans Holbein the Younger. Henry himself was an accomplished musician, author, and poet. He composed music, with Pastime with Good Company being one of his well-known pieces. He also wrote theological treatises, including Assertio Septem Sacramentorum, which defended Catholic doctrine and earned him the title Defender of the Faith from Pope Leo X. Henry's patronage extended to architecture, with significant building projects like the construction of Nonsuch Palace and the expansion of Hampton Court. His cultural contributions left a lasting impact on the English Renaissance. 9. Henry VIII's relationship with his ministers. Henry VIII's reign was characterized by his reliance on and eventual betrayal of key ministers. Thomas Wolsey, his chief minister in the early years, wielded significant power, overseeing domestic and foreign policy. However, Wolsey's failure to secure an annulment for Henry's marriage to Catherine of Aragon led to his downfall. Thomas More, who succeeded Wolsey, also fell out of favor due to his opposition to Henry's religious reforms. Thomas Cromwell, another influential minister, played a crucial role in the English Reformation and the dissolution of monasteries. Despite his contributions, Cromwell was executed in 1540, a victim of court politics and Henry's shifting allegiances. Henry's relationships with his ministers were complex, marked by periods of trust and collaboration followed by sudden and often brutal dismissals. These dynamics reflected Henry's desire to maintain absolute control over his government. 10. Henry VIII's legacy and historical impact. Henry VIII's reign left an indelible mark on English history, shaping the nation's religious, political, and cultural landscape. His establishment of the Church of England and the break with Rome had profound and lasting religious implications, paving the way for the Protestant Reformation. His constitutional changes expanded royal authority and set precedents for future monarchs. Henry's patronage of the arts and his cultural contributions enriched the English Renaissance. Despite his achievements, his reign was also marked by financial instability, costly wars, and personal excesses. Henry's complex legacy is reflected in the diverse assessments of his character and reign by historians. He is remembered as a charismatic and formidable ruler, but also as a tyrant whose actions had both positive and negative consequences for England. His life and reign continue to fascinate and provoke debate, ensuring his place as one of history's most influential figures. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through this figure's fascinating life. If you're passionate about history, don't forget to subscribe to Figures in History for more captivating stories of influential figures from the past. Leave a comment below and let us know which historical figure you'd like to see in future episodes. Your suggestions matter, and together, we can continue exploring the amazing figures that shaped our world. Keep exploring, learning, and shaping a brighter future through understanding the past.